G'day guys, this is Scotch Down Under, and this is our first episode. I'm Ken.
How you going? I'm the cue ball.
And I'm Scotty.
And today we're going to have a Dailuaine 16. Have you guys had any of this?
I haven't had it yet, no.
No, I haven't either.
I'm a Dailuaine version, mate.
Yep, same. So we're all going to pop our cherry tonight with this little beauty. And you guys know about the Flora and Fauna releases?
Only what you told me earlier.
Yeah. It's got a badger on it too. It's
It's a cool little badger. Look at that.
There's the
badger
fauna.
right there. So, Diageo back in the early 90s decided to go to all their distilleries in their portfolio, and especially the distilleries that no one's even really heard of because most of them go to blends. And they pulled out 26 distilleries and they made this collection called the Flora and Fauna. Now, Diageo didn't actually name it Flora and Fauna. It was a real famous person by the name of Michael Jackson.
I've heard one of his songs.
I've heard a couple of them. Have you heard a couple of them?
I think everyone's heard one of his bloody songs, but it's not that Michael Jackson.
No, it's a real famous whiskey writer. And so he actually gave out the name Flora and Fauna, and it stuck. And the reason is because they have little animals or pictures of plants and stuff, so obviously Flora and Fauna.
With this, are they implying that badgers would enjoy this whiskey?
They're probably drinking it, yeah.
Excellent.
I probably wouldn't recommend feeding it to badgers.
Yeah, no, they're cranky buggers.
Yeah, they got claws.
Yeah.
Imagine a badger with a hangover. Not good.
So this is one of the ones that was actually released way back in 1991, so just when Diageo decided to start doing these ones.
So did you hunt, or have you had that sitting around for that long?
Well, this only just arrived in the mail about a week and a half ago. So this is part of the Whisky Club. So all the people in Australia, you can join the Whisky Club, and each month they actually give you a selection of bottles that they're going to release each month. And this is one of their ones that they brought out for January.
Right, so with what you were saying before about distilleries that have just, supplied to other distilleries for blending and stuff. So, because, I'd never heard of these guys until he said, this is what we're going to do. So this is one of those ones that normally would just supply other distilleries with whiskey for blending.
Yep. So this actually happens to be one of the major components of Johnny Walker. And we all know about Johnny Walker. So Dailuaine is one of the big... Yep, look at that! Represent!
I thought it was appropriate to actually wear a whiskey shirt.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Unlike you bastards.
Yeah, we haven't got whiskey shirts.
I've got whiskey socks on.
I've got whiskey, but...
Excellent. We're covered then.
Yeah. So this is one of the biggest distilleries that Diageo owns for blending.
So when were these guys established? When did they first start distilling?
Back in 1851, if I can remember correctly.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so for 1851, so for roughly 140 years, no one really knew who they were. People were drinking their whiskey, they just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, hey, let's have a go at this. And,
That
could
be because they had to close a few times. They did burn down twice.
Yep, and even their pagodas burnt down. Back in 1917, they burnt down the lovely pagoda roof. So, do you guys have any idea where this is actually from?
Scotland!
Yep, you win a cookie.
Yeah.
You got anything a bit more accurate than that?
Space side, I think.
Oh, you hit it. Yep, it's a hiding right in the smack bang centre of the space side.
There's a slight hint on the bottle.
There is?
Yep.
Oh, look at that! Space side!
In case you can't tell, I didn't read the bottle either.
Neither did I just knew it was Ireland.
I know where to look.
So, yeah, this is going to be nice and fruity and floral and all that from typically where you get from the Highlands. Always going in for the sniffer already.
Ooh, I think I might pass.
Yeah, let's have a go. Ooh. Now, I did read that this was actually slightly matured in ex-sherry cask. So,
You do get the sherry up
so there
front.
might be a little bit of influence.
That would explain that little bit of sweetness that I'm getting. And they haven't overdone it.
No,
on the
it's
sherry
very
cask,
subtle.
because there's a lot where that real fruitiness that you get with a really nice sherry is
This is more sweet.
it punches through, but that's on the nose at least. It's very subtle. It's more. I'm getting more like honey.
Yep. There's definitely a bit of honey, like honeysuckle.
Almost like a golden syrup or a treacle.
Yeah. And looking at the colour, like this one, unfortunately, does have probably colouring in it. I mean, there's 26 releases of the Flora and Fauna collection, and none of them say that they're non-chill filtered and uncoloured. We're assuming they're all colouring because they don't say that they're uncoloured.
I reckon they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I agree.
Yes, I agree with that too.
There is no law in Scotland, though, unfortunately, that says that you have to label it whether it's coloured or not.
Let's start a petition and get them to make a law.
Yeah, I agree. Because in Germany, even though it comes from Scotland, they have to put it on the label.
Right.
And I reckon that's the way it should be.
There's a lot of laws like that in Australia.
Yeah.
Particularly with rums and stuff. But yeah, they should get it for whiskey.
And all of the releases of the Flora and Fauna collection are set at 43% ABV.
There's almost something, not necessarily floral, but maybe like herbal.
Spicy?
Yeah, I get a little bit of spice too.
I don't know, could it be like an evening's breeze over the heather mist?
On a hot
Or
summer
something
day?
on a hot summer day over the... I don't know, yeah, it's hard to nail down. But there's something definitely
There's
either floral
something-
or herbal.
Yeah, something
me.
from like a woody
I don't know,
note.
I
do
kind of
get,
want
like,
to
earthy
say
notes
it's
to it.
like a hint of perfume almost, yeah.
Perfume. Going back to that honeysuckle plant, there's the perfume with the honeysuckle sweetness.
Oh, well, let's go with that then.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm done sniffing.
Yeah, I think we're going to go in for a nose.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been, yeah, he's all into it. Ka-ching.
It's smooth. And there's still that hint of the sherry there.
Yeah, like right at the back of the throat, there's a little bit for me.
Right at the end of the... As soon as I swallowed it, then
Yeah.
that sherry comes from. Before that, it was rolling around butter and caramel and honey and...
Just that general mix that gives you that wonderful softness. That
butterscotch.
So, but yeah, there's a bit of heat there, and I can see here because it's right in my face. 43%.
Yep, it is 43.
So yeah, it's got a bit of a kick to it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Like 43 is pretty low for a whiskey, but it actually right at the beginning of the palate, it actually come through with the alcohol, and it was like, oh, the alcohol's there, and then it smoothed over with that honey. I must say, it's quite moreish.
I could quite easily sit on that for several glasses.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. It's super easy to drink. It's very smooth.
I can really understand why they're putting it in Johnny Walker. There is nothing offensive with it. It's nice and smooth.
It'd be complementary to a few other blends as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
We should make a blend with this. This would be a nice base.
We should start an infinity bottle.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of an infinity bottle, basically it means that, you know, when you get down to about there, you actually get 2 or 3 different bottles that, you know, some people call it a wounded zebra.
Yes.
And you pour them all in together, create your own blend.
Yep.
And, you know, when the bottle gets full, you have a few drinks and then you top it up with something else. What a great concept. Blend your own whiskey.
And you can have multiple ones of them.
And you can make a few mistakes with it, but
Yeah,
you
like
just have to drink a little bit out and add something else to balance it.
Just don't make this. Yeah. Just don't make the mistake of having a nice whiskey that's nice and subtle like this, and then putting something that's really peaty and really strong, because you're not going to be able to taste this anymore.
So don't put Octomore in it.
Just a tiny drop.
Just a hint for flavour.
I'm getting a little bit of the oak now. Should we add some water?
Yes, let's dilute a little bit, shall we?
Yes. Now it's only 43%, so we might not get too much out of it, but
It'll probably help me. I still get quite a lot of alcohol up front.
still get the
drinking
alcohol?
whiskey, yeah.
I'm getting a bit of funk.
I'll go with a generous
I feel
splash.
like it knocked off the sherry.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit of funky. I don't know. It's like a bit of funky cheese. There's a little bit of the wood there.
Actually, it's almost a hint of, like, almost a blue cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of funky cheese. It's not strong, but
maybe it's more of a... It's almost mushroomy, almost fungal.
Umami.
So not so much that herby sort of thing. Is that more earthy?
Because I was getting dirt and earth before. Like, maybe...
this has
I don't
popped
know,
it out a bit more.
Rotted wood.
So we got funky cheese, fungus, rotten wood.
You're definitely getting more of the oak when you soften it up with some water a little there. But it's still got that nice little subtle lingering sweetness from the sherry.
Yeah, it's definitely like the smoothness and the honey is definitely subtle. It's at more at the end of the palate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that oak and like slight pepper starting to come through.
So yeah, don't be shy about adding a few drops to your whiskey just to see if the taste does change. And
A lot of the time it does open up your whiskey to more subtle flavours.
So how much would you pay for a bottle of this?
considering the rarity of it, I'd say it's probably up there a little. Of course, we're talking Australian dollars.
Yes.
Yeah.
AUD,
And-
down
and-
under dollar.
And we do get taxed very heavily on our alcohol,
Yes, unfortunately.
which sucks balls.
So we really, really enjoy it when we can get it. How much would you pay?
Oh, I'm thinking about 150.
150? Kibble?
I wouldn't have a clue, but to be honest, I'd pay up around that for this. I'd pay, anything upwards of maybe not much more than 150, maybe 160
Yeah, no.
max. But yeah, definitely would expect to pay more than $100 for it, I reckon.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Now, because this isn't a normal release, and it is part of the Flora and Fauna collection, they are starting to get a little bit rare. This was bought out in 91, and from what I read, they're not doing it anymore. So it is getting a little bit hard to find, and so the Whisky Club I was quite amazed to see it there, and they were selling it for $125, including postage. But I did look online, and it was sitting around between 120 to 160, if you could find it. Most shops were having it out of stock.
I'd be happy to pay 125 for that plus
Yeah.
postage.
Yeah.
I bought two.
Well, I mean,
you
and
did.
look, let's face it, most of your online retailers, they're not charging as much as you would have to pay walking into a liquor store because they've got less overheads because it's basically just a
Warehouse.
So this is definitely one to try and hunt down. I mean, it's a nice dram. I would definitely highly recommend. What would you give it out of 10?
For me, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5.
Yeah,
Out of
I
10.
definitely agree with that. Yep, 8.5 all the way. Yeah, these guys actually they do have independent bottlings, but they're not that common, and so to have an actual release from the distillery with their own label is pretty special. And as we said before, you'd never even heard of it before, and it's a major part of Johnny Walker. So definitely an 8.5 out of 10. And if you can find it, I would grab a bottle. What would you give it?
I'd give it a 9.
Oh, he's going
Just
with
to
the
push
big
that up.
Just a
Mainly
little bit.
because it was released on a very good year of 1991.
That's your vintage.
Yep.
Oh, well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Absolutely.
So there you go, guys. There's our review on our first episode of the Dailuaine 16. So from us, see you next time.
Have a good one.
I've got no whiskey left.
Sucks to be you, bro.
Pour another one.
So that was a bit of a...
Are we blaming the Germans for that?
Yeah, it was the war.
Right then.
Don't mention the war!
I did it once. I think I got away with it.